Welcome to your Libra Season Yoga embodiment. Come to the top of your mat with your feet together and inhaling as you soften the gaze, closing down the eyes, pratyahara, inward drawing of the senses. And perhaps rolling the shoulders a few times as you continue to deepen the inhale and deepening the exhale. And now rolling the shoulders the other direction as you begin to invite a deeper and balanced breath, matching your inhales and your exhales in depth and duration. And then finding a moment of pause with the shoulders becoming quiet and placing the hands on the low belly to begin to practice our ujjayi or victorious breath. Inhaling deeply, the low belly expands, feeling the low belly expand with the inhale. And contracting the navel's hugging in, expelling the breath or stagnant energy with the exhale. And just feeling that with the hands as the belly expands and contracts. And continuing to inhale deeply, filling the lungs, expanding the low belly. And exhaling, contracting, hugging the navel in. Releasing the hands down by the sides, and then with a soft gaze or with the eyes closed, experimenting with your balance, rocking forward on your toes for a moment and staying balanced here on a demi point. Perhaps lifting the arms up overhead and finding a soft gaze focused on a single point to allow yourself to balance here. Perhaps the drishti is just slightly ahead of you on the floor, really narrowing in the focus and breathing here. Noticing the condition of your balance today, the state of the mind. Libra wants balance amongst all things, harmony. Just noticing the forward and the back, the balance between forward and back and left and right as you find equanimity here. And what does it take? We're never perfectly balanced. There's always a negotiation. Okay, perhaps there is a perfect balance, but there's always a negotiation happening between duality, both sides, the polarity of our experience, and then coming down softly, both feet on the earth, and feeling anchored in all four corners of both feet, pressing down firmly into the soil beneath you, or imagining your feet in fertile soil. We're going to move through a few balancing postures to begin here, lifting the right knee up and opening the hip, grasping the ankle, and then pressing the bottom of the right foot against the inside of the left thigh here for a little tree posture. Again, just exploring our balance to connect in with Libra energy, the scales of balance. And instead of dumping out from the left hip, seeing if you can get even taller and really find your plumb line, your core channel, the axis of your being, like Sushumna Nadi, and maybe even pulling up a thread from the crown of the head, getting taller while the chin stays parallel to the floor. Breathing here, and maybe even bringing the hands overhead and exploring with, when you introduce another variable, how does that impact your balance? Just negotiating your balance here, perhaps strengthening your willpower at the core center and your sense of self in order to stay balanced. And then bringing the foot down to the earth, shaking out the legs, being grateful that we have 2 feet before coming into our second side, inhaling as you lift the foot And then exhaling, finding balance. Here in your tree pose, maybe bringing the hands together at heart center, or again overhead if that was enjoyable for you. Finding some pleasure in this Venus-ruled sign, and maybe even making your posture feel from the inside beautiful. Libra loves aesthetics and beauty, that harmony that comes with symmetry. And breathing here, noticing if one side is more inclined towards balance than the other today. And accepting wherever you're at, one is not better than the other. They're working together. And whenever you're ready, bringing the foot down, closing down the eyes, and just noticing now, as after you've activated both sides of the being, of your body, bringing all that together at the heart center, the hands come together. And now we're going to move into another balancing posture here. So you may step forward and lean forward as we move into Warrior 3, or simply just bringing the left foot up. We're going to begin with the right foot planted into a little airplane pose, activating really the hamstring, rooting down through the four corners of the grounded foot here. You can point and flex the back toe, then working towards like a T shape here, and balancing, noticing the balance here. What's that like? How you're negotiating your balance in space, and how your sense of willpower at the core center, your navel engagement, allows and enables you to negotiate the position, and how your gaze and mental focus too will allow you to balance here. Opening the heart, even lifting to move deeper into the posture. Activating and breathing into the heart center. We've got to have some heart if we want to find relational balance. And then moving forward, just bringing the knee for a little squeeze. And then we're going to bring the foot, I think this is the hardest posture in all of yoga, out in front of us. You can point or flex the toe. And this is really requiring a navel engagement here to lift the left foot up. And then bringing the foot down, gorgeous. Taking a moment to bask in the after effect and notice the difference now between right and left sides. Breathing in, and then either stepping forward or simply lifting the right foot to come into our second side. Finding a nice soft drishti or gaze on a single point of concentration. The more micro you can get with your gaze, the easier it will be to balance. And opening through the heart, engaging at the navel, just noticing all the degrees and elements that are required here to keep you balanced, and breathing. And then swinging the right knee forward, clasping the hands around the right knee and just giving it a little squeeze in. Bringing the hands to the hips, engaging the navel, seeing if we can just straighten the foot out in front of us for a moment, and then pressing the feet both firmly into the earth, lowering the leg and releasing. Again, reposing in the after effect of this balancing pose. And then feeling the equal distribution of all the energy through your entire being harmoniously. Gorgeous. Bringing the hands to heart center. We're going to bring both hands up overhead, melting the shoulders down, opening through the heart, and then bowing forward towards the earth with sense of reverence and devotion. Releasing the neck, the brain is heavy in the head. Before we gently lift and lengthen, crown of the head comes forward, navel is engaged. Pressing the hands into the earth, shoulders over wrists. Stay here for a moment. Inhale. And exhale all the way to the earth, Chaturanga Dandasana, or you can come all the way to the floor, either moving through an upward facing dog and meeting us in downward facing dog, or coming here for a little Shalabhasana, Hands face down. I have my third eye pressed against the floor for some grounding, stabilizing mental energy. And I'm going to press my pubic bone into the earth and tuck my tailbone here. And here I'm flat as a board. And then I'm going to lift up by pressing my pubic bone into the floor, getting taller here, and really rounding through the back, opening the heart, inhaling. And exhale, release, pressing up and back to downward facing dog. And taking a moment here, maybe pedaling out the knees as I lift my seat even more. Gaze is at the navel, brain is heavy in the head, neck is released. If you're clenching the jaw, just ease in and release any tension in the jaw. Maybe wiggling the jaw out a little bit. Shaking the head yes or no. And breathing here. And we're going to bend the left knee here and grasp the left leg, and then try to straighten it by grasping the left leg with the right hand, twisting, engaging one side, and then releasing, and then bringing the left hand to the right ankle, twisting to the other side, maybe bending the right knee and releasing, and bringing the right foot up into the air, three-legged dog, bringing the knee to your nose and back, stretching back, and then curling, crunching the abdomen, inhaling and back, and bringing the knee forward, placing the right foot on the floor. We're going to come up into a crescent lunge. The back foot is lifted, but if you prefer a warrior A, then you can drop the back foot at an angle while working in both postures to bring the hips forward like your headlights are facing forward. And let's just take a moment to cactus the arms and open the heart. Look up and up again, and then we'll do that one more time, and exhaling through the mouth and up, and one more time, exhaling through the mouth, inhaling, coming up. We're going to come into a humble warrior here. Certainly takes humility sometimes to diplomatically negotiate our balance. Humble warrior. We're just keeping our posture. You could even move the back foot down into warrior A if you so desire. Making this work for you. And we're just tilting forward on a long line here. So rather than being upright, my crown is coming forward towards the front wall, and my arms are back. And then I'm going to explore bringing my arms forward, which is even more challenging, and noticing how that affects the posture. And bringing the hands back, and then clasping them behind the back, and then finally coming into my full extension of my humble warrior. I'm actually going to drop my back foot finally into a warrior A. And surrendering here. And releasing tension. Gorgeous. And coming up, releasing the arms, and we're going to float the hands down and drop the back knee. And just stretch here for a moment, inhaling into the hip. And exhaling. And breathing here, maybe bringing both hands inside the right knee for a minute. And straightening the right leg. Coming into a half Hanumanasana. You might like to experiment with both having the foot flat on the ground and then coming back into a true half split by flexing the foot and just noticing how that activates different parts of the pose. And just breathing here, releasing and surrendering into this short half Hanumanasana. And then coming forward again, we're going to just come into a little pigeon on the right side. So bringing the foot over towards the left side of the mat here, bending at the knee. The hip is underneath me, and I'm just pressing down into the earth. You might even like to get a little bit taller if you have some blocks or props to support you, and that might be nice. And if you desire, just surrendering for a brief moment here into half pigeon. Breathing into the right side, hip. pressing the hands back. We're going to step back into plank and then come through chaturanga, open through the heart, and pressing back into our downward facing dog. Second side, lifting the left leg and the knee comes in. Inhaling back, exhaling, contract. Inhaling, expand, exhale, contract. And stepping through with the left foot firmly planted, the left knee is over the left ankle. I'm going to rise up into my crescent lunge, and I'm going to take that cactus with a exhale through the mouth. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. I'm going to come forward now into my humble warrior with my hands flying back. I have Pataka Mudra, so all my fingers are pressed firmly together. Here, just to support me, energetically, I'm reaching back with my hands as my crown reaches forward. I'm then exploring coming forward, giving some extra weight for the navel to have to balance and negotiate. And the hands come back. I'm going to drop the back foot into a warrior 3 finally. And then clasping the hands to really wring out and release through the shoulders. And then finally surrendering fully into my humble warrior here. Releasing through the neck. The brain is heavy in the skull. Surrendering into this gorgeous posture with reverence and humility as I breathe. Little shake here, and then finally coming up and down to the earth and dropping the right knee to the ground for a little runner's lunge. Breathing here, opening up through the hip, feeling gratitude for my entire body and everything it does for me. And then pressing back into a little half Hanuman, exploring the difference between a flexed foot and a flat foot here. And then finally just deepening into our half Hanuman, half split, Ardha Hanuman. Finding the beauty in surrender. And elegantly, Libra being a very charming and elegant sign ruled by Venus, coming forward, and then I'm going to move into half pigeon by wiggling my foot over parallel here, or perhaps tucking the foot in closer towards the right hip. And I'm just going to negotiate my way down. Libra is the negotiator, the diplomat, Lady Justice. Although Libra is a masculine cardinal air sign, being at the start of a season, cardinal is that spark of new energy at a turning point in the 4 seasons, beginning autumn. Libra, the sign of balance, begins always in our abstract tropical zodiac on the autumnal or fall equinox, when day and night are equal. Just as Aries, the beginning of the spring, that cardinal fire sign Aries begins always in our tropical zodiac on the first day of spring equinox. And then just surrendering down here, if you haven't already, for a moment. So Libra is masculine in that it is solar emissive. And it's actively working to create harmony in partnership, long-term committed partnerships like marriage and business partnerships. Can also be related to legal contracts. And then pressing up through both hands, stepping back into plank, and either pressing back to downward facing dog or exhaling and inhaling back through a vinyasa. Breathing here now, noticing after working on both sides, what more needs to be surrendered and released, negotiated, mediated. Where else can we find balance? And perhaps in our breath, matching our deep inhale to our deep exhale. Maybe breathing in for 6 counts and exhaling for 6 counts. Trying that. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And perhaps continuing to breathe like that. And then stepping forward to the top of our mat before rolling up the spine, stacking vertebra by vertebra. And coming to the top of the mat, breathing in as you release, surrendering the shoulders, melting them down, the back. Just finding perfect balance between both sides, symmetry, equanimity, harmony. As you breathe and continue to breathe in and matching your inhale to your exhale. Inviting in a sense of peace into your heart. Actively working to invite in this peaceful serenity through the breath. And moving through, we're going to come into chair pose and just hold chair pose for a minute, noticing the balance, that this is actually a balancing posture. I should be able to see my toes. Engaging the navel, sitting back and getting longer, slightly looking up, just noticing how I can flatten my back and reaching, and just coming down all the way to the mat and sitting down. Gorgeous. And then coming into Navasana, boat pose, another balancing posture, activating our core and sense of self. Libra can tend towards indecisiveness. So Libra can tend to endlessly vacillate between two options, weighing the pros and cons endlessly because of the balance, is always being negotiated between two sides, endless variables. And so in order to harmonize that or balance that tendency, we want to create willpower and determination at the navel. So as you sit up really tall here on your sit bones, bringing your feet to the earth, and starting to visualize a sun, a fiery sun at the navel. In fact, Libra is debilitated in the sign of the sun. So bringing the two little toes to the floor and perhaps just starting to experiment with your balance, touching one toe and then the other playfully, and then bringing the feet up to begin at an angle here. The knees and the ankles at the same height for a moment while you bring your hands to the back of your thighs and get a little taller, just starting to wake up the core. And then perhaps moving into your full boat, inhaling and breathing deeply. So the sun, visualizing the sun at your navel center. What is that fiery energy, that individuated sense of willpower? Libra, Aries is the opposite of Libra. Aries is the individuated willpower, the ego, and Libra is partnership. Therefore, Libra is debilitated in the sign of the sun. It's the opposite energy to Libra. Libra wants harmony and balance and partnership, and the sun wants its own way to shine its light. And when you're ready, bringing the feet down to the earth, letting yourself shake a little bit to increase the muscle strength. Just bringing your awareness back to your navel center. We're going to go one more time. So coming again into our boat pose. Staying balanced on the sit bones and negotiating your balance in space. Feeling the heat, letting yourself shake a little bit, And maybe if you need to bend the knees and come to a half boat, that's totally fine too. And then finally, we're gonna come back into a low boat. So just tipping back here and staying lifted. We're gonna do breath of fire just for 10 seconds. So if you know breath of fire, begin. And release down. Gorgeous. And we're not done yet. We're just gonna come into our low boat one more time, activating the willpower and the sense of self. Libra loves partnerships so much they can often become maybe even codependent in some ways. So we definitely want to be able to communicate our worth and our boundaries in relationship. So we're going to come in and activate the navel, visualizing a sun at your navel center, your solar plexus, and cultivating that willpower and leadership as you come up again, and breath of fire. Staying lifted here. You can do it. You're stronger than you think you are. And releasing when you've had enough there. Feeling the heat. Breathing in and bending the knees, feet come flat on the floor, tucking the tailbone so the full back can be fully flat on the earth. That may require you to zip up through the front of the body, engaging the core and tipping the pelvic bowl slightly. If you have a minor scoliosis in your back, maybe you wore high heels too often like I did. So here we go. We're just going to roll up and down the spine, rolling and coming down, and rolling up and coming down, and again rolling up and coming down. Beautiful. Beginning to turn on the spine here. And now we're just going to come up into our bridge pose, clasping the hands underneath the back, or you can use your hands to support you. So pressing down into the earth, the legs stay parallel rather than coming out, and lifting up the hips, tucking the shoulders under perhaps so you're more on the top of the shoulder, and then clasping the hands underneath you, maybe even walking the shoulders underneath you a little bit, and lifting up through the pelvic bowl towards the ceiling, engaging the glutes, but not over activating, maybe even releasing some of the clenching in the glutes and finding some other muscles to help you. And you can release the grasp also and even flip the palms up. And my thumbs are underneath me, and then my fingers, 4 fingers, are kind of on my side waist here. I'm just going to support myself and breathe here. My chin's gently coming towards my chest, or my chest towards my chin as I breathe, and release down. Gorgeous. And then just releasing all the way to the earth for a little mini Shavasana here. And again, we're going to practice a little bit of core engagement, bringing the hands overhead, getting the back flat on the earth to begin here. And then we're just going to switch the legs in the air and switch, 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 making sure there's no curve in the spine, which may feel weird for you at first, to correct any structural anatomical elements. And keep switching. Gorgeous. And just release that. Beautiful. And to just engage the navel center even some more, let's do some bicycling of the knees here. Get your little yogi bicycle happening. And engaging the navel, perhaps visualizing that sun, activating your willpower and strength at your belly button, Manipura chakra. And then we're going to start twisting into our bicycle. So as one knee comes up, my left knee is up, my right elbow is going to meet my left knee, and I'm going to exhale twice. On my second exhale, I'm going to deepen. And twist, and exhale twice, deepen on the second exhale. Deepen the twist, and again. Moving at your own pace. Twisted abdominal crunch. Just a few more. Gorgeous. and releasing down. Well done. Noticing your reaction to that challenge. Beautiful. And we're going to rock and roll up and down the spine. Enjoying this for a moment because it's fun. And sitting up into our meditation posture. Coming to a seat, feeling your sit bones on the earth, rooted down, breathing in and feeling so deeply held and supported, nurtured by the earth beneath you. Maybe even imagining your roots penetrating down deep into the earth. And then bringing the hands overhead for a moment, keeping them separated. And just allowing your fingers to rise up into the sky. Just becoming aware of the cosmic, celestial sky energy above you. And just noticing the polarity between earth and sky. How we're constantly balancing and negotiating terrestrial and celestial. Noticing which one you might lean more towards and be more inclined to. And perhaps committing to bringing more balance into the equation. Bringing heaven to earth or sublimating heavier energy upwards, depending on your personal constitution, to create balance and remedy where there is imbalance. Maybe you're very kapha, earth and water body type, or vata, air and ether. And whichever it is, that or pitta, just noticing how we're constantly negotiating the elements and our connection to them. And then just slowly bringing the hands down and placing them on a part of the body that might need some healing. Maybe the heart or the mind. Releasing the hands down, placing the left hand on the earth and reaching the right arm over like you're coming over a beach ball. Just stretching out the right side. You may be even looking up here or looking down if that feels better for you. Getting a nice stretch through the right side body as you inhale and exhale. And coming up through center and over to the right side. Or rather, I'm stretching the left side, contracting at the right side. Just noticing the two sides of the story. Gorgeous. And when you're ready, sitting up straight, bringing the feet out wide, prasarita here, wide-legged, just sitting up really tall. And if you're hyper flexible, not overdoing it here, maintaining an active flexibility. And if you're like me, really tight, just easing in slowly, perhaps placing a bolster or a pillow underneath your sit bones to give yourself a slight tilt to aid you here. Or if you have a block, you want to feel extra supported here, opening. And then finally, surrendering down through the middle for a few moments. Inhaling and exhaling, bringing in our 6 count inhale and our 6 count matching exhale. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continuing this breath, 6 count inhale and a 6 count exhale, or elongating or shortening this count to meet your needs, yet keeping them symmetrical and equal. As you release deeper into your wide-legged forward fold. One more round of breath here. After you've completed your last round of breath, coming up to a seat, maybe helping your knees bend and coming into Baddha Konasana. Sitting up tall here, breathing and maybe butterflying the knees a little bit before coming forward with the chest and the heart open, flat back, and releasing towards the earth. My elbows are helping me out a little bit by resting on my lower leg. And my feet are open like I'm reading a book. You can explore even activating your toes. And then finally, if you would like to round through the back and bring the crown of the head to the floor or the toes, the feet, feel free to open up here, releasing towards the floor. And breathing, perhaps bringing in your equal breath. And releasing up, beautiful. And we're just going to roll down the spine, bringing the knees together first, of course, and then rolling down the spine, vertebra by vertebra, coming again to the earth, and finally resting all the way into Shavasana. We're going to twist on either side before actually we complete. So bringing the right knee to the right shoulder here, bending the right knee in, hugging it, squeezing and stretching out through the left leg first and the left hip, and then bringing the right knee over the body and coming into a twist here. And perhaps you want to bring both knees in or even eagle the legs depending on your flexibility at the moment. And opening the right hand up and over, looking out over the right fingertips as you breathe deeply, rinsing out here on the side. Breathing in and out with an equal inhale and equal exhale. Allowing yourself to bask in a sense of harmony and peace, and finding real beauty in that. And when you've finished on the right side, coming through center, and again clasping the hands over the left shin, tugging the left knee in towards the left shoulder, getting a little long and stretching out through the right hip here, before inviting the knee gently over to this other side, twisting here, and opening the hand out to the left, looking out over the left fingertips, twisting, detoxing, releasing. On this side. Libra, Lady Justice, although a masculine sign, it's actually just Justice, but in the tarot, Libra is an air sign, engaging with the intellect and the mental faculties. Just letting your mind rest here and inviting a sense of peace into the intellect, releasing any tension in your thoughts. And then when you're ready, releasing, coming back through the center, and finally releasing down into Shavasana, your final resting pose. If you'd like to take any final postures, feel free to do that now. Maybe a plow pose or a shoulder stand. anything you desire, headstand. And then we'll meet together in Shavasana. Inhaling and releasing any intention with the breath, just letting it be soft and natural as you feel yourself heavy and melting, supported by the earth beneath you. Feeling a harmonious distribution of all the energy you cultivated through your whole being. Sense of peace washing over you like a wave from the crown of your head, over your face and your shoulders, your chest and rib cage, stomach, hips, legs, and feet. And as you rest here, maybe imagining yourself getting into an elevator and pressing the first floor, going down 10, 9, 8, 7. And then when you reach the first floor, opening and stepping out into a pathway full of flowers, and walking down this path of wildflowers into a meadow, a vast open meadow, a happy place full of energy and vibrant life. And as you walk, bringing forward your highest self, and becoming this highest self as you continue to walk deeper into the meadow, just melting away any limiting beliefs, stress, or anxiety like layers as you become more and more your highest self. Then just noticing as these layers melt off of you, what are you feeling? How are you moving as your highest self? What are you wearing? Who are you with? Just take a moment to notice when you're your highest self, who is in your good company? Bringing forward that person, that relationship that you really is delightful for you. Your counterpart or equal. And if no one's coming forward, just sensing into what that might feel like. To feel your highest self fully met and seen in relationship, committed partnership, be it in love or in business. And just seeing who this person appears as. Maybe it's more than one person. What are they wearing as their highest self? How are they feeling? How are they moving? And just noticing your dynamic interplay and exchange without words. How are you reacting and relating to each other as your highest selves? Perhaps you're creating something together. And what does that look like? What impact are you making? Or what are you receiving? Or what are you delighting in together? How enjoyable it is to have this equal dynamic interplay, this relational polarity, complementing one another, while you maintain your wholeness, each individually, coming together, creating an even greater whole. When you are both fully embodied in your wholeness, your magnetism, just enjoying that feeling for a moment and taking this with you, this sense of reciprocity And balance, being totally met and seen with you as you walk back through the field, the meadow, up the path of wildflowers, and get back in the elevator, pressing the 10th floor, and coming up back into your body, back into the room, back onto your mat. And wiggling your fingers and your toes, maybe rolling out the wrists a few times before stretching the hands overhead, bending the knees in, feet on the floor, and then resting your bicep on your ear on your bicep, cradling your head like a pillow as you pause in this fetal position, honoring the transition. And then pressing down to come up to a seat. Bringing the hands to heart center as you arrive here. Inhaling together and exhaling. Thanking yourself for enjoying your practice today and bringing out this sense of your highest self as you negotiate your place in relationship to others, creating committed long-term partnerships. Sending you lots of love and enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.